Audiobook Spring. Listen to relaxing novel. Thank you for following and not crossing advertisements. Female doctor and journeys through time. Time to become a princess. Chapter 81. Can't let her go too. Even now Grandpa has forgiven her. Uncle is not opponent with Mrs. But she still has another aunt-in-law. Because of the story of Tyre, her aunt's daughter-in-law refused to see her face again. If the aunt-in-law still hasn't forgiven her, she wouldn't stay at the general's mansion for very long. But she believes I only wish that she would be good to the general's residence soon. Sooner or later, the aunt-in-law's prejudice must be changed. Give aunt-in-law back, trust her again. Brother Dare tugged at Linesin's clothes, looking at her with big, teary eyes. Will you come to Tyre again? Linesin stroked Tyre's little head. In a couple of days I come to see you again? Yell. Dare nodded in agreement. Smile, sweet cute. Tyre will wait for elder brother. Linesin lowered his eyes. Her hand lightly stroked Dare's head, her heart filled with determination. There must be a day when she would be able to cure Dare's face completely. And she would make the Fenrir Shuang's Dare not look down on Dare again. You go, I won't delay. Next time if you want to come near, generals can come at any time. Old man Nalen sighed lightly and said. As for this brat, he couldn't help but hate him every time, even though he had been angry with her so many times. But only she has with the slightest change. He was willing to trust her again. Please, Grandpa. And Jean bit her mouth. He looked at Linesin with confused eyes. She really has changed. Changed until he couldn't see change until. Not as stubborn as before. Father, Nolan changed. Kian watched Nolan Jing walk beside the princess. The young boy kept walking away. Nolan Chankian narrowed her eyes. Said in a deep voice, Seer, I think this time the princess has really changed. Or thinking of a plan, play against us again. Elder Nalen smiled bitterly. You ask me this, I tell you. You can only tell that she has changed. I am her eyes. I must hope this time is true. I don't want to see her being beaten by wrong Gui Fei. I was so drunk that I didn't know my relatives anymore. Young Kinger was really cute and gentle. No wrong Gui Fei and take her as a mother and obey her completely. Everything? Every time they wanted to remind her, she had an annoyed expression. As the days went by, she became more and more distant from the general's quarters. Even His Highness still couldn't deal with her. Father, have you forgotten? What did she do in the first place? And the wound on Dare's face. A human being born into this world never made a mistake. We, her eldest relatives, would forgive her endlessly. I ask you, if King was hurt by someone, would you be able to remain silent? Nolan Chankian remained silent. Keep calm and look at her. How did you? A few days ago, Kinger was unconscious. They were heartless and did not visit her. It's not because she doesn't care about her kindness anymore. But it's only because she hurts her, doesn't want to see her face. Afraid to see them and they will regret it. But in the royal hall, he objected to Chancellor Liu both openly and secretly. I don't know how many times. Junger was outside, his face sullen. Liu you can always, although they knew very well that King was wrong, she was a stubborn person who would marry Liu Yukan herself. But Kinger was almost crushed to death by the Liu clan. They can't accept it. More not to mention before Kinger got married, he visited to inform Grand Vizier Liu himself. If your son doesn't agree, he will help disobey the royal decree. His Highness has no way to put a knife on the general's quarters. They were not doing this for Liu Yukan. But for Linzin, it was different. But Grand Vizier Liu rejected him. For the Liu family to climb Dao went up to destroy Liu Yukan's happiness and agreed to marry Shishi. He enters the house, so, to remain silent and not really care about letting her go, he couldn't do it. The general's quarters couldn't either. Chapter 82. Can't let her go 3. However, she has disappointed me so many times. What she did today only made me feel that it was untrue. Father, I still cannot completely trust her. I'm afraid it's a plan. I'm afraid. that she will give us sweets. When we eat, we will feel the sweetness. Wait until the sweetness outside once completely dissolved. It will become bitter instead. Elder Ye could understand Nalan change Kian's feelings very well. Why wouldn't he be afraid? But even though he already knew, he still wanted to give her another chance. None of her relatives could truly be angry with her forever. They were only hurt by their inability to melt iron into iron. Chang Qian, since she didn't do anything bad to the general's mansion, I hope the people in the general's mansion will be nice to her, this kid. Without a mother, and being intoxicated by wrong Gui, some people will go astray, but I believe that our Nalan clan's blood is good and pure. Father, I understand. Nalan Chang Qian sighed. I will not stiffen my face at her. But if this time she disappoints me again after this, no matter what you say, I will never forgive her for the rest of my life. This is the last chance only once. In front of the door, the two guards in front of the door opened wide eyes. Look at the girl walking with Lan Jing couldn't believe his eyes. Just now, the general just rushed in and didn't chase the princess. Come out, back to the young man who came out to send her by himself again. Lin Xin suddenly, a young man's voice came out. Behind him, Lin Xin stopped his footsteps. She blinked back to look at Na Lanjing behind her. Brother, do you have anything else? The announcement on the wall that day, I saw it. The eyes of the young man were pure and clear. He looked at Lin Xin with suspicion. You and him. Are you really divorced? Lin Xin nodded slightly. Smiling broadly eyes, I returned my freedom to him and myself. In this life, Liu Yukan and I are like. Two parallel lines can never meet. That's fine, Na Lanjing sighed, his eyes filled with confusion, and finally asked again. Also, a few days ago, I heard that you had caught the eye of a man outside. Hid him until he passed out and brought him back with him. Lin Xin was stunned, his eyes wide open, his mouth gaping. Pass by her so that he can call his own voice back. Brother, I am evil. Is it too late to use force to possess a young man? Na Lanjing looked at Lin Xin without saying anything. But it means, yes, you are that kind of person. That's really just a rumor outside. Lin Xin was afraid that Na Lanjing would not believe her. So hurry up and touch his shoulder. Said in a serious voice, I am a good man, I just saw him faint. Consciously on the floor. That's why he went to help him. Na Lanjing pursed her lips, not believing that these two syllables would really get along with her. Lin Xin, in this world, a man who loves you and you love him. There's no way it wouldn't exist. The love that comes out of manipulation will never be happy, whether it's Liu Yukan or that young man. I won't let you fall into a mud pit again. Talking like she's going to force her to possess a man again. Is that so? In the eyes of the people of the world, is she really such a person? Brother, Qin Chen and I are not what you think. Besides, if I want to sleep with you, it's only Guosai. There is no way to sleep with other people. Na Lanjing was stunned for a moment before asking curiously, Guosu? Why Guosu? Because Guoshai is handsome and also has a pure heart. Don't you feel that having a pillow with such a man is meaningful? Lin Xin grinned widely. Reaching Guosai, she started. I miss him again and I don't know when Guoshai will come back. Chapter 83 Fucking is irritated. Na Lanjing's expression darkened. He felt something himself. What was said just now was meaningless. Brother, as if Lin Xin hadn't seen Na Lanjing's grim black face, she patted his shoulder with a smile. It's late now, I have to go back. Then, if you have time, don't forget to meet me at the princess mansion. Na Lanjing had just regained her composure and saw Feng Ruqing hand. After waving his hand to him and slowly disappeared from sight, his eyes were still frozen. Meng Feng Ruqing walked away suspiciously, his mind wandering for a long time. Blue sky. Fucking squatted on the ground, his eyes reddened with negligence. After a moment, a familiar figure appeared in front of him. He made a humming sound in his throat, turned his face away, not looking at the girl who had appeared. Out in the air, But Qing Han stood up. He looked at Lin Xin with awe and fear. Foster mother, have you already? Lin Xin rubbed Qing Han's head before turning his gaze to Fucking. Raised an eyebrow Grior. Fukin's little face was furious. There's a genuine third-rank magical pill there. Why don't you bring it to me to eat? I've been hungry for 1,000 years. Will you still be cruel to make me endure hunger again? Little Zhao's indifferent expression caused Lion Xin to soften in many parts. But I promise you I will quickly raise my power. Wait until I have the power to reach the Genwu level. Then I will be able to plant a third-grade magic pill for you. Until then, should I let you eat enough? Really? Fu Chen's eyes lit up. You didn't deceive me, did you? Lion Xin narrowed his eyes and smiled. Therefore, you have a method, anything to raise your strength quickly, let me know. This is for you to eat delicious food faster. Fukin was so embarrassed that he was about to cry. He already knew that this woman had to appear. It's not a good thing. And it's true, Mrs. Cod will threaten and extort him. I don't have one. Fukin Lion Xin held the little one, her eyes turning red, her smile even stiffer. Earlier you deceived me. Claimed that pharmacy that party destroyed long ago today. I came to know that the pharmacy that sex still. Are you supposed to explain it to me or not? As a parent who takes care of this is not, how safe will it be? She is very busy these days. Too busy to account for this little frog. Now it's not easy to find the time to come. No matter what, you have to think the frog's account is clear. Fukin froze, staring at Feng Ruqing with stunned eyes. Pharmacy that party. Not yet. Live? Impossible. The party leader's body had already been buried. Pharmacy party. The gods were completely destroyed. The rest were all incompetent people. Even the pharmacy god's sex consciousness had been transferred into space. Pharmacy that party. How can it still exist? Shall I deceive you? Lion Xin narrowed his eyes again. How to grow this magic potion originally belonged to the pharmacythip sect. In the past, your position in the pharmacythip sect was ordinary, but there was none. Whoever knows, now that you teach me the method, is as if you were pushing me into the fire. But, Fukin lowered his head in shame. I don't know why in this world there is still a pharmacy god sect. That pharmacist divine sect must be a fake. Lion Xin's face was full of smiles, looking down at Fu Chen. Whether it's real or fake, in the pharmacy god sect, there is a method for cultivating magic pills. True, I must have enough strength to be able to withstand such dangers. Fukin, shouldn't you say something? Fu Chen did not want to speak suddenly. He understood that Feng Ruqing came to see him today really to extort him. Chapter 84 Flowers and Grass 1. But all the precious things that I have stored have been given to you. I really have nothing left. He gave a pitiful expression. So with this matter, even if I wanted to help, I couldn't help it. Feng Ruqing hesitated for a moment before finally letting out a sigh. Indeed, you should not oppress them. It's okay to break, however. I love myself and fear death. It's not easy to get a chance to have. Life again cannot be wasted. What is the parental position? This can't be anymore. Fu Ken's eyes widened, his mouth gaping. Humans? Are they also shameless? I only have the last sword left. As soon as he drew his finger, a long black sword appeared in midair before landing in his hands. Fu Chen said in a dissatisfied tone, "You are such a heartless and ruthless woman that has deceived my last treasury." The sword was as black as steel. The sword was starting to rust. Only the dragon pattern on the sword looked there. The soul seems to rush soaring out of the sword like that. Lion Xin's expression darkened, and his eyes filled with suspicion stared at Fukin. You wouldn't be able to use the sword of Suo to deceive me. Fukin stamped his feet in anger. His little face turned red with extreme anger. Will you still doubt me? Am I someone who likes to deceive others? The power within this sword was extremely strong. I now swallow it can't go and originally intended to swallow it the next day. But now must you've been deceived. This woman, is she a devil? Deceived his food after that, I still doubt him. It's too much. Lion Xin saw that Fu Ken's appearance was unlikely to be a lie. She smiled and took the sword. It's okay to be a good son of my mother. One day my mother will have a strong power and will take you on a journey around the mainland. Fukin was silent and didn't say anything like that. His face was unbearably sad. You will not practice penance again. Fukin hummed in his throat, not wanting to see this woman's face anymore. He had nothing left now. Really? Who knows if she was still there, she might have snatched Han away. Brother fucking Qinghan pulled Fu Ken's clothes. Whispered, brother, speak carefully, don't make her angry. Wait for her. Then we secretly complain to her, it's not too late. Lian Xin's face was dark. Sorry, you heard it all. However, Lian Xin, who possessed a long sword, possessed the strength. In a good mood, I didn't want to think a little bit about the two little ones. The two of you play slowly. Next time, if you miss me, call me and I will accompany you guys. Fu Chen remained silent. Miss you? No way. He fucking wouldn't even die of starvation here. Have a day to miss you. Qinghan's personality is better than anywhere else. Lian Xin saw that fucking didn't care about her. She didn't care about him anymore. Turning his gaze towards Qinghan, stroking her tiny head. Qinghan, if you miss me, remember to call me. I will come to you right away. Qinghan froze and replied with a respectful expression. So? Can I not miss you? Lian Xin's face turned even darker. This is not your favorite. How big are these two people? And then there are these other secret words. Can talk to each other, why must come and speak to her face? Ahem, Lian Xin cleared his throat. So if I thinking about you guys, I'll come to see you. Oh right, fucking, why? Before I release my strength the way you told me, Shenner was willing to stay with me? Fucking looked at Lian Xin before his mouth twitched. The magic power of the original owner was already special. Plus, you often grow magic potions. This smell of the magic potion I just add something to the power of only a little of you could alleviate Qinchen's pain. He naturally wanted to stay. Chapter 85 Flowers and Grass 2. Like this, Lian Xin narrowed his eyes. She guessed from the beginning that fucking must have done it. But he was in this space and could even affect the outside world. Then how strong was the fucking in the beginning? A cheap son like this knows no loss. That kid. Fu Chen was silent for a moment and then continued. He's special, but I'm saying that now you don't understand. You take good care of him after this. He will be able to become your strongest fighting force. Lian Xin met her eyes. Then she fell silent, suddenly raising her head to look. Blue sky. As if she could look through the sky to see a smile that the warmth of that young man. As for me, whether he's a person with extraordinary abilities or being worthless, I will protect him for the rest of my life. But because he was too similar to Chair. Even if he was a worthless person, then how? She will protect he went all his life. She helped him not because of his body and didn't think of let him be her strength, all because he was like Chair. Fucking silently stared at Feng Ruqing. This devil also has time to help someone without expecting anything in return. Or, then why did she treat them so much? Fucking Qinghan. Lian Xin lowered his eyes. Stroking the heads of the two little ones. Third level magic pill is grandpa's. I can't give it to you, but you guys trust me. Soon you will no longer be hungry. For fucking and Qinghan, she would try to raise her strength as soon as possible, only if she had strong enough strength to extinguish it. Third level magic. I believe you. Qinghan smiled shyly. I've never been close to a human, but I know a human mother won't deceive her own son. You are our foster parent. You will not deceive us. Lian Xin was suddenly motionless. Her expression turned serious. Hand touched Qinghan's shoulder. Qinghan, you remember, you are a girl, you are not my son. But it's my daughter. Daughter? Qinghan was puzzled. She stared blankly at Feng Ruqing. But brother fucking is your son. Brother fucking and I are same species, why are they not the same? Lian Xin began to feel serious. Fu Chen, one day from dawn to dusk, what did you teach her? She's not that young. She should already be able to distinguish between sexes. She's a real girl. Would you say you're a man? Where is she of the same species as you? Fucking made a dark face and pulled Qinghan to his side. Qinghan, I told you. After this, you and I can't be divided between species. Species applies to flowers and grass. How can ordinary flowers and grasses compare to us? Oh, Qinghan nodded, some understanding, some not. Fu Chen continued in a serious tone. And this mean woman just deceived everything in our house. Do you remember? Are you still going to say that she won't deceive us again? How are you stupid? So, isn't that considered deceiving? Brother fucking really gave it to him. Listen to the voice of the two children talking. Lian Xin narrowed his eyes again. Like she. Received only bad information. You guys have consulted with each other. I'm going back to practicing penance. Lion Sin summoned the person back. Smiles at Fukin and Qinghan as goodbyes. Fukin at this moment had not yet agreed to tell her his status, but there must be one day she would mold him completely. After leaving airspace, Lion Sin's body was already lying on the bed. She twisted lazy on the bed and got up. Half a month later, Guoshai had returned. I must hurry to practice penance. In order to get together in the pillow with Guoshai, she will linger, not even a minute. Chapter 86, Practicing Penance 1. Half a month passed silently. In this half a month, Lion Sin besides taking care of the magic pill, the rest of the time is based on magic power. From food that nourishes health and magic in the practice of penance. Fortunately, during this time no one disturbed Mrs. It made her practice penance with peace of mind. At this time, in the room, the little girl who had closed her eyes to practice penance suddenly opened her eyes. The corners of the mouth tinged with a light smile. Half a month it had finally reached the peak of the Chuwu level. But my road to practicing penance is still long. I believe there must be a tattoo the day when I will be able to make people under heaven know that Nalan's daughter, Hong Hao, is not normal. The little girl's cheeks were still plump as before, but it was beginning to show. The shape was blurred and all the lumps of fat merged into one lump. Between her eyebrows, a light shone brightly, dazzlingly brightly. When Lion Sin pushed the door and walked out, he saw young Manuel. One stood under a willow not far away. The youngster's brows were graceful, his jade face, his eyes as clear as Qingquan's waters, smiling slightly, looking at Lion Sin as he walked out of the room. King, you have lost weight again. Every day when King left the room, he could feel that she was thinner. Taking, today's Qing looks even better than before. Chenner, I have to go somewhere. You go be my friend. Lion Sin sighed. Even if she relies on healthy food, magic to slim down, but the owner of the original body was too fat. She wanted to be so skinny that it was a big project. It wasn't easy. Wherever you go, I'll go too. Qin Chen stared at Fengru Kingman. In this lifetime, wherever she goes, he will follow her everywhere throughout her life. Never abandon. Wanglu in garden, on the forbidden mountain. Fengru Shuang's body was curled round, her hands tightly clenched, her cheeks pressed against her knees. His face was as white as snow, trembling slightly. Lion Sin, apologized to Mrs. What rights do you have? She is also the daughter of her father, but she received lots of love despite having a fat figure. He wore extremely fine clothes. Her father indulged her, loved her, but the perfect me, my father, did not even look. It's gold. Fengru Shuang bit his lip tightly. Her eyes shone with hatred, her nails digging into her palms with all her might. Shuanger. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from the front. Fengru Shuang, raise your head. His eyes were full of excitement. Stand up, quickly. She saw Rong Jiuifei approaching her from afar. She didn't wait for Liu Rong to walk towards her. She, too, rushed towards the other party. Mother, father, have you taken pity on me? Will you let me go? Yes or no? That's right, father, why didn't you come? This is not where people can really live. Not only was it cold, but it also protected against magical beasts on the Forbidden Mountain. I'm so scared. Looking at Fengru Shuang's bloodshot eyes, Rong Gai's heart Fei was stunned. She held the girl's cold hand and sighed softly. The nobles jointly signed a petition asking His Majesty to release you. But His Highness has been indifferent for many days. Mother herself just got cancelled the order. Come to you? Among the nobles, Liu Rong's reputation was not good because she persuaded him to take the Iron Blood insignia. Fengru Shuang and Lion Sin, the nobles, would be more inclined to help Fengru Shuang. Despite this, His Majesty resisted the pressure. Imprison Fengru's band for a long time. If you continue imprisoning her, it's probably a magical beast on the mountain. Forbidden, maybe something really happened, so I agreed. Let her out first. Chapter 87, Practicing Penance 2. Mother, am I really father's daughter? I don't understand. I'm a daughter too, but why haven't I received your love at all? Fengru Shuang said angrily. Because of mother isn't mine, grandson Wang Hao. Shuanger. Liu Rong's voice darkened in several parts and trembled. What did you just say? Under her cold voice, Feng Shuang's body trembled. She lightly pursed her lips. Mother, I didn't mean it like that. I only blame father for being biased. Enough, no more talking. Na Lanyan, this woman again. It wasn't enough that she stole His Majesty's heart. Even Shuanger wanted to have a mother like her. Shuanger, listen carefully. Liu Rong took a deep breath, squeezed Feng Shuang's shoulder tightly. Na Lanyan has nothing. She was just using tricks. Her fox snatched His Highness away. You must be more perfect than me. Her young lady would let people in the heavens know that His Highness in the past made the wrong choice. Lin Xin was silent. She lowered her head. Don't know why. After Lin Xin woke up, she felt that Lin Xin wasn't quite the same. All these years, my wicked person has been here. Everyone knows that I deceive Lin Xin's iron blood token. They hate me more than anything, but you are not the same. Iris, do like this so that the people of the world know how perfect you are. No matter how Lin Xin was viewed in the eyes of the whole world, Lan Wanghao was still their heroine. But she deceived iron blood to make those people prejudiced against her. The bad things she has done. The goal was to change Fengru. Qing turned into a stubborn person who did not listen. Use this method to reinforce it. Shuangji's integrity became more evident. She believed that her Shuanger would become a woman who the most perfect under the sky and was the only person worthy of Guosai. Mother, I understand. Feng Shuang was silent for a moment before he nodded. Looked up at Liu Rong with suspicion. I know what I should do, and I will not be trampled underfoot by such a useless fat manual. I will let father know. Choose Lin Xin to abandon me. Is what he did wrong enormously? Smart, beautiful woman, gentle, affectionate. What about Lin Xin? Ugly, fat, and still a useless, lazy person. What value does such a person have compared to her? She's not worthy. Liu Rong's expression finally softened. Said with a little smile, this is to be my good daughter, that's right. How are the daughters of the nobles studying healing wounds? Feng Shuang laughed. Mother, how old is Nolan Tyre? Less but a beautiful face like that. The next day must be a girl. The cause of disaster is definitely because of beauty. Might as well destroy our Yuying state. I used Lin Xin to destroy her face, doing it for her. I'm really going to heal her scars. How? Lin Yuying all believed her with all their hearts without a doubt. However, this was thanks to Lin Xin. If it weren't for Lin Xin to give her a chance, let her save the people who were punished by Lin Xin from Lin Xin's hands, those people wouldn't have been so loyal to her. That's good, it's too late here. Let's get out of here first. Liu Rong's face hid a smile, walking along the path down the Forbidden Mountain. Outside the Forbidden Mountain is not far away. A maid of honor. There was a sharp expression in his eyes that looked around him. Wait until Liu Rong takes Feng Shuang walk down to her, then hurriedly walk towards her, bowing. Mom, I pay my respects to Rong Ji Yuifei, princess. Let's go. Liu Rong waved his hand lightly. It's telling the maid of honor. Don't need much ceremony and move on immediately. Chapter 88. The Neglected Feng Shuang 1. Along the Qinhuai River, the first tower, a multitude of talented young women sat and stared at the space. A bustling sound rang out from within the dorm. Mingle with noise, laughing girl. At this time, a sharp-eyed young woman suddenly glancing at Feng Shuang standing in front of the door. She was delighted and hurriedly stood up. Sakan, princess, you have finally come out. The laughter suddenly stopped. Everyone's eyes turned towards Feng Shuang. Their eyes were full of joy. Not like anyone else, one could expect that Feng Shuang would appear at such a meeting. Feng Shuang smiled faintly. Previously, it was because of I made my father angry. Father, please imprison me on the mountain. Forbidden. At last father realized that he had misunderstood me and released me. The meaning was that she had to be imprisoned on the Forbidden Mountain. Because Lin Xin deliberately slandered her in front of Feng Dianyu. Now that Feng Dianyu knew that she had misunderstood her, let her out. If it was before Feng Shuang said, like this, there must be someone. The number undoubtedly came to her side, but this time, the entire first tower. Instead, it was strangely quiet, her expression revealing an embarrassed expression. not knowing what to say next to Feng Rishuang. What is it? Feng Rishuang slightly frowned. She had only been in prison for over half a month. Why? She felt as if, that in half a month, something she didn't know happened. Second princess, are you in prison because of the eldest princess? Dao Yang was silent for a moment before asking. Feng Rishuang was not Lin Xin. Mrs. Hospitable has always been good. If she asked back like this, Feng Rishuang would not be offended. This was why Zhao Ying dared to ask such a question. Feng Rishuang shook his head and smiled bitterly. It's better not to talk about it. Guys, you just know she's my sister. Elder didn't have a mother since he was young. So my mother loved her in many parts. I respect her, love and protect her, no matter what she does in this life, I can forgive her. Infinite. There was a dazzling light in her eyes, the corners of her mouth lifted, a thin smile, such an alluring. But Feng Rishuang lowered his eyes and let out a light sigh. What did she do to me? I can forgive her, but what I can't forgive is that she hurt Dare like this. To keep me from developing medicines, heal her wounds, slander me, and put me in prison on the Forbidden Mountain. Can't continue to develop. Drop. The first tower was quieter than before. So quiet that even the sound of a needle can be heard. This matter. Suddenly, a clear voice came from outside. The door was as beautiful as the sound of a flowing river. It seems that I came without time. This voice was for Feng. Luxurious, it was like a nightmare. Her body stiffened, her fists tightly clenched, trying to contain her feelings. With all your might, you will be able to keep a smile on your face. That she turned her back, a smile like a first blooming flower. Brother, how did you come here? Did this woman Lin Xin not know that the young masters, these royal ladies, hate her to the bone? Why did she still dare to face them? When Feng Rishuang saw the figure standing in front of the door, a clear smile appeared. Her stuff must be frozen. His eyes widened in disbelief. In the past, every time she saw Lin Xin, she would always get fatter. It's been a month since she hasn't seen her. Why did she feel that? This woman was thinner, eye-catching? Although her body was still plump, what made Feng Rishuang unbearable was that she had already become thinner. Chapter 89. The overlooked Feng Rishuang. Brother. Feng Rishuang Dong quickly came to her senses, pinching her claws into the center of her palm to suppress the overwhelming motions. She smiled. Didn't see you for a while. Elder has thinned down. Shows that the food that one-on women can't fight in the royal palace. Did you go back to my palace? Nal Hong Hao is beautiful. Lin Xin when she was young had a flawless complexion, so her highness had to put in a lot of effort. To make Lin Xin fat like this, she didn't give up trying. All those years must have been wasted. Lin Xin smiled. Rishuang, you really don't want me to lose weight. You're in a hurry to bring me back to the palace. Feng Rishuang smiled wryly. Laugh, brother, you get it. I was wrong, I just miss you. If you don't go back to the palace, I would be bored alone. Is it true if you really miss me? I want to go to the animal shop this afternoon. You better go for me. Lin Xin smiled and turned to face Feng Rishuang. When Feng Rishuang thought of the previous events of Lin Xin and about her, she suddenly stopped breathing, an angry expression on her face, refusing to speak. Seeing the bad face, Feng Rishuang's Lin Xin laughed, then walked past her to go straight to the group of youths. Feng Rishuang bit his lip tightly, did not say anything, although she did not understand why Lin Xin had come here, but in this world, there is no one who is not afraid. Or don't you hate Lin Xin? Her only end was that no one cared. As expected, when Lin Xin walked in, the first tower suddenly appeared. How to become quiet? Everyone doesn't say anything. The expression on the face is difficult to feel. Brother, you came at just the right time. Come help us figure out how. Get rid of scars. As Feng Rishuang raised her head, her mocking eyes disappeared. Became the glimpse of despair. Whether the people here will welcome you or not, but I'm always on your side. She swept a glance at the people there and continued to say, guys, sit down. Earlier, I had a conversation with the royal doctor in the palace in a carry-on. Day and night, he came up with a new idea. Just help Dare. No matter how difficult it must be, I agree. Ha ha ha. Zhao Yang had a strange expression, This time he did not react to Feng Rishuing. His gaze was directed at Lin Xin. Oh my god. Last time, you gave us a method? New Kinger, take it back and try it out. It really works. Last time, he didn't believe what Lin Xin said. And do not believe this rogue woman would have the knowledge of healing. But I don't know why Mukinger went to find someone to try the method. Heal what Lin Xin said that method actually removes scars. Even if it had lightened the scars a bit, it gave them a lot of hope. Feng Rishuing frowned. What she was about to say couldn't be said, it was stuck in her throat. Extremely tortured, the method that Lin Xin said can be used to remove scars. How is that possible? This Lin Xin eats and sleeps all day, and make a mess otherwise, I don't see anything good. She has no way this ability. In fact, Lin Xin shrugged and smiled. This matter must thank you Rong Gui Fei. It was because of Rong Gui Fei. So I love pork knuckle. In the past, I used to have wounds on my hands. Eat nutritious food, this health goes in to heal scars. Chapter 90 won't stop harassing Liu Yukin? Healthy food or Zhao asked stunned. It's a healthy food. Lin Xin looked towards surrounding people as everyone knows my Wuyu Palace has a kitchen. Plus, I'm a type of person who likes to eat free time. Bored? Bring medicine and food to cook together. It becomes healthy food. In fact, the magic nourishing food and the ordinary health nourishing food were not much different in composition because, after all, the precursor of the magic pill was the ordinary pill. When it absorbs power magic he went, so it became a magic drug. Therefore, Lin Xin just adapted the recipe from the health nourishing cookbook a little bit, and ordinary people could cook it themselves. Unfortunately, it only 1/10 of the effect of the magic health food. Feng Rishuing clenched his fist tightly. Healthy food? Lin Xin, this person is just a pharmacist and doesn't know yet. How could she understand about healthy food? Brother Feng Rishuing smiled and walked towards Lin Xin, her eyes looking pure and pure. Since when did you know pharmacy? As far as I know, medicine and food can't be concocted together if their powers suppress each other. Wouldn't that be a danger to the eater? Lin Xin smiled. Since you're worried about whether it will be fatal or not, then next time if I cook a healthy meal, would you like to try it instead of me? Feng Rishuing's face changed color. Would she try nourishing, healthy food? Who would know what Lin Xin had put in there? Wasn't it like letting her risk her life with poison? Besides, even if she was really poisoned, father wouldn't blame Lin Xin. Brother, you can play. How could I doubt your abilities? Here I saw Liu Yukin and Tan Shuang swarmed. Didn't think that those two would be so in love with each other. But Liu Yukin said that the elder has been following and harassing him non-stop, so I would like to ask Elder Tar to light up a bit. Feng Rishuing's sincere expression made people not even suspect what she was doing. Speak, several days ago, Feng Rishuing was caught in the mountain region. It was forbidden to know what happened outside the royal palace. According to the understanding Mrs. Two Lin Xin was in love with Liu Yukin, he would not die. Let him go easily. Therefore, these words did not come out of Liu Yukin's mouth, but only her guess. But she didn't know when she finished speaking. Those young people looked at her with strange eyes. For people in the capital, Lin Xin was a celebrity. Everyone knew about the clash between her and Liu Yukin on the street. In the south, it had spread all over a long time ago, although Liu Yukin was the one who blocked Lin Xin, which she did not look at him. Plus this moment Lin Xin came outside. The princess's residence is very rare. How could she harass Liu Yukin? Thus, when Feng Rishuing finished speaking, Lin Xin laughed. I didn't know that I was harassing Liu Yukin all this time. I thought he couldn't give up on me anymore. Therefore blocking my way while on the south road, Feng Rishuing and Liu Yukin, Kwang Lin Xin in the middle of the road. This. How is it possible? Liu Yukin desperately wanted to avoid her face. There was no way she would do such a thing in the middle of the street. Brother, I don't want to see you do stupid things, so I warn you. Feng Rishuing bowed his head in a sly manner. The red-eyed lady. Because in the past, you didn't listen, I insisted on marrying Liu Yukin. Bad things? The gaze that others had on Feng Rishuing. It wasn't just a strange feeling, but also a shock. Secondary, Princess Mukinger pulled Feng Rishuing's sleeve. With an embarrassed face, Not long ago, Liu Yukon really blocked the eldest princess in the middle of the road. Although it didn't mean that Liu Yukon liked this rascally princess, everyone knew the events of that day. Lion Sin didn't look away. Even looked at Liu Yukon. One more thing. Mew Kinger was silent for a moment and then continued. Not long ago, the eldest princess took the youth back to the neighborhood, too. This matter was well known to everyone.
Desire to listen to good novel? Don't forget to subscribe.